23 ABC's Veronica Acosta is live at the Bakersfield Police Department and has the latest on the investigation and what friends of the missing men are saying. Veronica?
Jessica, this is the flyer that's been circulating on Facebook of those 3 missing men. Now, whether or not that has anything to do with those bodies found down in Burbank today, still under investigation. A flyer showing Lucas Amiyama, Giancarlos Amiyama, and Carlos Lopez making the rounds on Facebook as family and friends pleaded for others to keep an eye out for their loved ones. According to the flyer, the men were headed to Riverside, last seen driving a Jeep Patriot with Tennessee license plates. Their last location, unknown. According to Bakersfield Police, the 3 men were reported missing to the department on Sunday. And down south, early Tuesday morning, Burbank police responding to a call just after 7 a.m. about a parking code violation. But when the patrol officer showed up, what she found beyond that.
All 3 pronounced deceased at the scene.
Police saying they believe the deaths did not occur where the bodies were found. Rather, they were, quote, dumped in Burbank. The vehicle police found the bodies in is similar to the one in the flyer that family and friends were sharing. Friends of the men telling 23 ABC the 2 Amiyama brothers, Lucas and Giancarlos, were inseparable. Lucas, a veteran, and friends of the 3rd man, Carlos Lopez, adding he was full of life, a gentleman, and beyond that, an amazing father. Burbank police saying in a Facebook post they are aware of information circulating regarding missing individuals from the Bakersfield area, but saying the bodies have not been identified. And Bakersfield police saying they're not able to confirm any investigation with Burbank police at the moment, only confirming all 3 men were reported missing. Now, it's unknown how long the Jeep that the bodies were found in had been parked at the location where police found it. Burbank police are treating this as a homicide investigation, and we had quite a few family friends reach out to the 23 ABC newsroom and tell us that the bodies that were found down in Burbank were those of the missing men. Live in downtown Bakersfield, Veronica Acosta, 23 ABC News.
Veronica, thanks. New at 11 tonight, 3 people are in custody following a pursuit in central Bakersfield. The suspects, Bakersfield police say, are connected to a robbery at a local Motel 6. Bakersfield police say around 5 o'clock tonight, an officer attempted to stop a vehicle that was driving erratically near the intersection of Oak Street and California Avenue. A brief vehicle pursuit ensued, ending with 2 adult men and 1 adult woman being taken into custody after they abandoned the vehicle and took off running. Police determined the vehicle was related to an armed robbery at the Motel 6 on Easton Drive that involved a suspect armed with a rifle, an airsoft rifle, airsoft pistol, baseball bat, and the loss from the business were recovered in the vehicle. Anyone with information regarding the investigation is asked to call Bakersfield Police at 327-7111. The coroner's office has identified the person who was found dead in the trunk of a vehicle near Delano yesterday. Officials say it was 42-year-old Jose Francisco Rodriguez Saavedra of McFarland. The Kerr County Sheriff's Office responded to the area of Zerker Road and 9th Avenue around 1:30 yesterday. No suspect information has been released at this time. The coroner is now trying to determine Saavedra's cause of death. Anyone with information is asked to call the Sheriff's Office at 861-3110. A trial is scheduled to begin early next year for the civil lawsuit against John Giamara III related to a deadly crash he was involved in. Giamara was arrested for driving under the influence after he collided with Angela Holder, who was on a bicycle in January of 2017. Holder died as a result of the crash, and now her family is suing Giamara for the crash. Earlier this month, Giamara pleaded no contest to 3 misdemeanor charges and was sentenced to 90 days in custody, which he's eligible to serve as a work release. He was also fined more than $2,000, has to complete 100 hours of community service, and serve 5 years probation. The trial is expected to start January 14th of next year. Charges were officially filed today against the man accused of killing prominent local grape grower Yakov Dulcich. Today, 25-year-old Mariano Perez appeared in court on felony charges in connection with the murder of Dulcich last week. The 85-year-old was the founder of Dulcich & Sons. Deputies say he was killed last Wednesday morning in Delano near South Browning Road and Woolhams Avenue, where he was allegedly shot inside of his car. On Sunday, KCSO said Perez was arrested in connection with Dulcich's murder during a traffic stop. Today, Perez was charged with 4 felony counts, including first-degree murder. Now, court records show in 2013, Perez allegedly hit a woman and choked her until she lost consciousness, then attempted to light her car on fire while she was inside. The attempted murder charge was later dismissed when Perez took a plea deal. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison. Today in court, Perez's arraignment was pushed back to Monday. His bail is set at $2 million. New details released tonight concerning a murder arrest in Rosamond. Kern County Sheriff's deputies releasing the probable cause for the crime, unveiling more on what happened on the night of the alleged crime. According to documents, a witness saw Jaime Perez asleep on a bed next to the dead body of Kyle Ramirez, who was wrapped in a blanket and plastic. Police say Ramirez had stab wounds to the head, face, and chest, along with other blunt force injuries. The suspect, Perez, was found hiding in a bedroom closet when police arrived. They say Perez had injuries on his hands as if he'd been in a physical fight. Perez was expected to be formally charged today, but it was pushed back to next week. He's currently being held without bail. Nearly a dozen horses have been surrendered to Kern County Animal Services by a local ranch as an investigation continues tonight into claims that the animals were not receiving proper care. Animal Services is currently looking into a situation at Bit of Heaven Ranch located on the outskirts of Bakersfield near South Enos Lane and Taft Highway. According to them, they received several complaints from nearby residents saying that several horses on the property looked very malnourished and not cared for. Animal Services went to check it out and found 11 horses who were about 100 to 300 pounds underweight. They then conducted an investigation to find out who exactly owned the property. The ranch had recently changed ownership in the past 6 months. Once an owner was determined, that person, who was not identified, willingly surrendered the horses to Animal Services. Now Animal Services is determined to get them well and find them new homes.
Well, since they were surrendered to the shelter, our hold time is significantly less than if we had seized them or if we came into them as strays. So we'll place them up for adoption here shortly, and we have historically had no problem placing horses through adoption. So they all seem to be relatively behaviorally sound, so we have no concerns that we won't be able to find them good, safe homes.
No arrests were made, but several citations were issued by the Kern County Sheriff's Office to the owner. Some of the horses are currently off-site at a veterinarian facility receiving medical care. A California City man is behind bars tonight, accused of dozens of accounts of aggravated sexual abuse of a minor. Cal City police officers arrested Dwayne Washington last week on suspicion of sexual acts with a minor. Washington was arrested on nearly 24 counts of sex with a minor and continuous sexual abuse of a minor. He was also arrested for 15 counts of oral copulation and 10 counts of child pornography. Washington is expected in court this Friday and is currently being held on $2.8 million bail. A hit-and-run crash led Bakersfield police to arrest 4 people and shut down a chop shop in southeast Bakersfield. Officers say just after midnight yesterday, the victim of the hit-and-run followed the suspect vehicle to Washington Street and East Bell Terrace. When officers arrived, they found a chop shop being operated in an open field. 12 stolen vehicles were recovered, and another 14 vehicles that were not reported stolen were impounded by code enforcement. Omar Bravo, Veronica Mendoza, Edgar Reyes, and Alexi Rodriguez were arrested on multiple charges related to the chop shop. Anyone with information about the investigation is asked to contact police at 327-7111. District Attorney Lisa Green will hold a conference tomorrow morning where she will discuss a review of the complaint against ICE agents involved in a deadly crash last month in Delano. Green says her office has received a complaint requesting charges against 2 agents. This comes after the Delano Police Department claims ICE agents provided false information following a crash that left 2 people dead. 35-year-old Santos Garcia and 33-year-old Marcelina Garcia were allegedly on their way to work when they were pulled over by ICE agents. They then took off, eventually crashing their car into a power pole. Delano police say agents claimed they did not use their emergency lights, but surveillance video allegedly shows otherwise. The conference will be held at 9:30 tomorrow morning.
Well, it turned out to be a nice and clear day today across the county. Cool temperatures though today. The valley only saw highs in the mid 60s, but great air quality, and that is on tap again for tomorrow. So we're talking about temperatures that are warmer than what we were seeing this time yesterday, but still cool down in those 50s for us across the valley, down to 49 in Lamont though. But our mountain community still looking pretty cold. We're seeing below freezing temperatures in Breckenridge as well as down in Pine Mountain Club. But we're talking about one more day of clear skies before a storm is making its way into the county early Thursday morning. Now that's going to be bringing a chance of rain for us here on the valley floor and the chance of snow in the mountains. I have more details on the storm coming up.
First Lady Barbara Bush has passed away at 92 years old in Houston, surrounded by family, suffering from congestive heart failure and chronic respiratory illness in her final days. Tonight, we take a look at the connection the Bush family had to Bakersfield, calling it home in the late 40s. 23 ABC's Alyssa Flores joins us now with more on where the former First Lady once lived with her family and more on the life of Barbara Bush. Alyssa?
Yeah, Jessica, in this East Bakersfield home is where President George H.W. Bush and First Lady Barbara Bush lived before the family's dynasty in politics began. It was home to President George W. Bush as a boy and is said to have held pleasant memories for the late First Lady.
America loves Barbara Bush.
Tuesday, the nation saying goodbye to beloved First Lady Barbara Bush. She was born in Queens, New York on June 8, 1925. It was at a Connecticut country club that she met the man that changed her life, George H.W. Bush.
I married the first man I ever kissed. You talk about a bore. I am the world's worst.
Before he went on to become the nation's 41st president, George H.W. Bush was focused on building an oil business. It's what brought him and Barbara to Bakersfield in the summer of 1949, to this house on